Hello and welcome to Siddhi. Last week, we have converted all questions of mathematics asked in SSC exams of 2025 in the form of practice PDFs, and we have provided two separate PDFs, one for arithmetic, one for advanced maths. Both the PDFs are available on our Telegram channel. You can download them. Now, this week, it is time for us to discuss the most important, most repeated models that you must practice for SSC cycle of 2026. If you practice these models, that is more than enough. You will be able to score more than 30 plus in the exam. So let us take a look at the models. Before going towards the models, we took all the questions of each of the chapters and we counted the number of questions that are asked per model. For example, in mensuration, triangles there are 15 questions, then on quadrilaterals there are 62 questions, then on circles there are 70 questions, and within circles we have done the sub counting, that is sectors, areas, perimeter, concentric circles, etc. In this manner we have done sub counting also. The next chapter, for example, geometry, there are 166 on circles, triangles 115 questions, quadrilateral 46 questions, lines and angles there are questions, and radians there are also questions. Then number systems. So in this manner we have counted every single chapter and we have listed down the number of questions that are asked for each of the chapters. Now this PDF along with arithmetic will be available to you for download on our Telegram channel. You can download the PDF and you can check the entire count. Now we will talk about the list of those models which are non-negotiable for each of the chapters. We will start with mensuration. There are a lot of questions from mensuration in total in the entire cycle of 2025. So if there is one chapter that is extremely favorite for the examiner in 2025 cycle, that is mensuration. So within mensuration, there are certain models where it could be slightly difficult and new, but you must practice these models. For example, rings and concentric circles, you also call them as annulus questions, then segments, sectors, trapeziums or trapezoids. So these are slightly tricky, but do not ignore them at all. Then there are certain topics which are easy, which are regular, where there is good amount of weightage, for example, area, perimeter, rectangle, square, etc. So this is about mensuration. Now the next chapter is geometry. Now within geometry, triangles have the highest weightage. Maximum number of questions are from triangles, and there are a lot of questions on radian to degree conversion. We often tend to ignore radian to degree, but please don't ignore it. Radian topic is important. You will have questions on radian in geometry as well as trigonometry also. Then questions on similarities, angles at centers, that is angles at circumcenter, in center, x center, those angle, the formula based questions. Then questions of Thales theorem, and within Thales theorem, using Thales theorem, we can also calculate areas. So those kind of questions, medians, centroids, cyclic quadrilaterals, and in circles, there are a lot of questions on tangent lengths and lengths of chords. For example, two circles intersect at a particular point. What is the length of a common chord? These kind of questions where they're asking you to find out the length of the chords. These questions are very, very important. And finally, PA into PB is equal to PT square. These are very important models with respect to geometry. Now, mensuration 3D. Within mensuration 3D, this year in 2025, combination figures is a favorite topic. For example, you have a cone and there is a hemisphere on top of it. Or for example, there is a cylinder and a sphere is immersed within the cylinder. There is a slight rise in the volume. What is the change in the volume? So these are types of combination figures are very important. Please practice them, don't ignore them. Similarly, we tend to ignore the topics of prism and pyramid. Don't ignore them. Then the topics such as cone, cylinder, these are old. Everybody knows these. These are important. Make sure you are good at the formula with respect to these types of models also. Then the next chapter is number systems. Within number system, the most common thing that we completely ignore is the definitions. Definitions of irrational numbers, surds, rational numbers, integers, even numbers, these kind of basic definitions we tend to ignore. But more than 60% of questions on number systems are from types of numbers and definitions. So please be very good at definitions. Then there are questions on recurring and non-recurring type of decimals. Don't ignore it. Then algebra. Within algebra, x plus 1 by x completely dominated majority of the questions. When I say x plus 1 by x, it is not just x plus 1 by x. I mean to say x power n plus 1 by x power n. Various types of questions on this model. Then you have squares formula, and obviously the formula where you have a plus b plus c is equal to 0. Then aq plus bq plus cq is equal to 3abc. That's a favorite topic every year. There are good number of questions on that formula also. Then in trigonometry, when I was talking to you about geometry, I told you radians are very important. Similarly, even in trigonometry, radians are extremely important. Then there are certain questions on basic things. For example, sine 90 minus x, cos 90 minus x. This is the area where we tend to get confused in the exam, especially when there is a paucity of time. So please be good at this particular topic. Heights and distances is extremely important in 2026 cycle, especially in CGL or CHSL. You can expect at least one question on heights and distances per paper. One question on heights and distances and one question on coordinate geometry. Similarly, in simplifications, surd rationalization, this is one topic that has gained prominence. So please be sure with respect to this topic is also important. Then with respect to time and work, in 2% and 3%, there are some new questions that are asked in 2025. These new questions you can solve from the 2025 PYQ PDF that I told you. Use the PDF. There are certain good questions. Make sure you solve them thoroughly. Then give more importance to questions of efficiency and A and B joins to do a work and B leaves the work. Those type of questions, and alternative work models, because these are slightly tricky. And if there is a small change in the verbatim with respect to these questions, often we tend to fumble. So please be good at these particular topics. These are old, but please be sure you are good at them. The next chapter is averages. Within averages, the questions are very basic and easy. Be good at inclusion and exclusion. For example, a teacher left. What is the change in the class average? 5 students have joined. What is the change in the average of marks? Or those kind of inclusion, exclusion questions. Time and distance, the questions are very basic, but be good at average speed. This topic is important, and very interestingly, there are very less number of questions on boats and streams and races in 2025. The next chapter is percentages. Within percentages, the questions are very easy. Don't worry much. If you are good at percentage to fraction kind of a thing, you are very good at this chapter. You can handle it. There are good number of questions on percentage increase and decrease formula. Please be good at it. And there could be questions on Venn diagrams, voters and elections. Practice these questions. Then profit and loss. There are so many questions that are asked on discount. Don't ignore the topic of discount. In discount in 2025, there are certain trickier questions. Again, you can solve them from the practice PDF that I told you. Download the PDF. It is on Telegram. You practice 2025 questions. Then the next chapter we have are ratios and proportions. These are pretty easy. You don't have to worry about these chapters. Within SI and CI, there is one model that I want you to focus upon. That is difference between SI and CI. These types of questions, and the model where there is certain sum. It amounts to X rupees in some years and Y rupees in some years. For example, it would say 500 rupees, it becomes 575 in 2 years, and it becomes 625 in 3 years. Then there will be a question based on this kind of a data. These questions are tricky, they are important, and if they combine, which they have already done in 2025, where they combine simple interest in one half of the question, compound interest on the other half of question. Please practice these types of questions. Then mixtures and allegations, these are very easy. Please be good at repeated replacement and replacement models. If you solve them, this is enough. So the source, let me repeat again, for you to practice all these questions are 2025 PDFs, practice PDFs. These are the two PDFs. One is for arithmetic, the other PDF is for advanced math. These contain 2025 questions which are organized as practice sheets. But when doing maths, the best way is pick up a PDF, practice it, and write them as tests multiple times. And when you write a particular chapter as a test from your own source, mark the questions where you went wrong and do them again, and that is how you can master a chapter. And to help you facilitate this as well, we have converted all these questions into sectional tests, where each section has got 25 questions, one set on advanced math, one set on arithmetic. So all the questions of arithmetic are converted into tests. All the questions of advanced maths are also converted into tests. Both of these tests you can access from Siddhi Prep's website. Download the PDFs, practice the questions, write them as tests. You will definitely score 40 out of 50 in maths. All the best.